One of the best parts of living in Idaho is our access to public lands, including the 30 parks the state owns or manages. And we aren't very good at keeping that a secret. Word has gotten out, and those parks have seen record visitation levels in the last few years. That, coupled with long-delayed updates and maintenance to facilities, caught the governor's attention. Associate Producer Logan Finney sat down with Senator Rick Just to talk about the 2023 legislature's historic investments in state parks to address deferred maintenance and capacity issues, as well as the senator's first year in the legislature.
Senator Rick Just from District 15, West Boise, thanks for joining us today.
You're most welcome, Logan.
So we're here to talk about investments in state parks, but first off, I want to ask you, this was the first year of your first term. How are you feeling about how the session went now that we're a few weeks out?
Well, there are regrets, of course, about the session, but I have to say, for the most part, I loved it. I really did. I enjoyed representing District 15 and Idaho in the legislature. Certainly, there were subjects that I totally disagreed with, and we will get into those, perhaps not today, but another time. But I found that every single person over there I could get along with just fine on a personal basis, and I think that's the way to get things done. You might have someone who you disagree with 9 times out of 10, but that 10th time where you can agree, maybe you can get something done there.
Sure. Well, one of the things that, by definition, lawmakers have to agree on eventually is the state budget.
Yes, indeed.
You serve on the budget committee, JFAC. Yes. There were a lot of investments in infrastructure this year, transportation, broadband, and when it comes to state parks, the Department of Parks and Recreation received $95 million for deferred maintenance and other projects in Idaho's state parks. For people who maybe don't know about the whole system, they only know the state park that's just up the highway from where they live. Can you give us kind of an overview of what Idaho's park system looks like?
Sure. Well, there are 30 state parks, and that's a little bit of a deceptive number because a lot of people think of a unit of a particular park as their local state park. So there may be 50 units around the state, but 30 actual state parks, and they range from Priest Lake all the way down to Bear Lake. And a lot of them in northern Idaho. We've got Land of the Yankee Fork in central Idaho, the Harriman State Park, one of my favorites over in eastern Idaho, many of them along the Snake River. And just this last week, I was at the dedication of Chalice Hot Springs unit of Land of the Yankee Fork State Park. It's our first park on the Salmon River, and very pleased to see that.
Oh, very good. So I referenced that $95 million investment from the general fund. About $70 million of that was for deferred maintenance at the parks.
Yes.
When we're talking about deferred maintenance at the parks, what sort of items are we talking about?
Well, it could be just about anything. If you've seen a problem in a state park in the last few years, maybe a restroom that wasn't up to par, or a parking lot that was cracked and broken, or that kind of thing, it's probably going to get fixed. This is a lot of money, and it's going to do a lot for deferred maintenance. We've needed this for many, many years, and finally we had the opportunity with some of the money that came along with COVID and with the state surplus as well to address that. And I mentioned COVID because that's the time that we found out that people loved their state parks so much. 7.2 million people visiting state parks nowadays. That is just huge. They love them, and we want to make sure they don't love them to death, so we have to keep the maintenance going. And that money will also provide some new capacity as well. Campgrounds will provide some picnic shelters, boat ramps, parking lots in some cases are capacity. Bear Lake State Park is one that during the summer we get a lot of Utah visitors down there. It's almost like the Caribbean in Idaho. It's a turquoise lake and one of the most beautiful beaches anywhere. And we have to make sure that people have a place to park their cars, and so we stop them at the gate. I should say they. I was with the agency for 30 years. They stopped them at the gate because they can only park so many cars there. Maybe we'll see some improvement on that parking lot. I don't know.
Sure. Like you referenced, you worked for the agency for 30-some years.
Yes.
Would you say that these investments and these improvements are a long time coming for the parks?
I would say this is our biggest investment since the very beginning. It's since 1965. with no doubt. We had a pretty good year last year too, by the way, but this investment in upkeep and some new capacity is certainly historic.
And of course, there's fixing and maintaining the things that have existed because, of course, the parks are popular with Idahoans, but like you referenced, during the pandemic, a lot of non-Idahoans, people from outside the state, discovered Idaho as well. Campsites are often booked out months, if not a full calendar year in advance.
Yes.
Do you expect that we'll start to see some improvements, lessening of wait times, better capacity? How long until Idahoans who want to go to their local state park but haven't been able to get a spot, how long until they see an improvement there?
It might be a while, but yes, there will be some improvement on that. And I always tell people the best time to go, if you have the capacity, if you have the ability to do it, midweek. What used to be the shoulder season, anytime after Labor Day, it's not so much of a shoulder season anymore because it's pretty full then too, but we have some great weather at that time. But yes, this will increase the capacity. I think that probably our visitation will just follow right along with it. So I'm not guaranteeing that you're going to you can now wait till the last minute to get your reservation. You got to put it in about 11 months in advance in a lot of cases, which is too bad, but that's the way it is. Yeah.
When it comes to working in the legislature, of course, this being your first time, when it comes to parks and these types of issues, do you hear any opposition from your colleagues in making these kind of investments?
Not so much. There was a little bit of money that was left over from ARPA funds, about $5 million, which when I say a little bit of money, it looked great in my bank account or yours, but for a state agency, that's not a whole lot of money. That came along, and we had some folks that were a little concerned about that because that's federal money, and they want to vote no on budgets that have federal money in it because they're concerned about the deficit. Well, I have a different view on that, but I understand that view and respect it. But they weren't saying we don't need state parks. It was just a philosophical thing on what money to spend.
Sure, where it should come from.
Where it goes. Sure.
Well, as we're here in the interim, the 23 session is closed out on the books. Of course, you serve a 2-year term, so you have at least one more session ahead of you.
Yes.
What sort of things are you working on during the interim and getting ready for next year?
Well, as a member of JFAC, I don't have a lot of time to work on bills myself. I've got a couple that I'm thinking about. But most of it, I'm also on the Legislative Council on Indian Affairs. That's an interim committee, and I'm really looking forward to that. Going to make a trip up north here in a couple of weeks to visit the tribes up there and get to know what their needs are and their issues. And I'm looking forward to that and bringing some of that forward. I'm also on the interim committee for federalism, and we met a couple of days ago on that. And there are some issues that are kind of bubbling up, and I won't say that I'm eager to see those come forward, but I'm thinking that they probably will.
And the Federalism Committee, of course, sometimes puts out legislation. Does the Council on Indian Affairs is that a legislative group or an advisory group?
It's a council. It's several legislators, but also members of the tribe that get together to just have a dialogue. And the Federalism Committee doesn't put forth legislation either.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. But they do put forth ideas and can bring legislation during the legislative session. So that's always a possibility. I would think in this case we're talking about some major rules that are proposed for the Bureau of Land Management. I'm thinking that there might be some joint resolutions or something either for or against them.
All right. Well, if viewers are interested in that, we've got a little bit of coverage on those Bureau of Land Management rules online. Senator Rick Just from District 15, thanks for your time this week.
Thank you.